welcome back to the Football Tragics. We're finally back. Season 2022-23 is almost upon us. We're missing someone. Morty decided to take a week off before the Premier League starts, but I'm your host, Aaron, joined here by Tony and Campo. Lads,
hey, yo.
I haven't seen you guys in a while. How you guys doing?
Campo, you can go for it first, mate.
Oh, I'm good. Strong finish to the Premier League season. Deserved a break off, a bit of a time off. Had that time off, refreshed, ready to go again for a new season.
Tony, optimistic this season?
Oh, I mean, we'll get into that a little bit later. Obviously, it was good to see United come out, go to Melbourne, catch up with a few of the lads, watch the games down there. There's a few positives going forward, but, I mean, like I said, we'll get into that and we'll look at our predictions when we get to it.
Camp, I'm sure you're pretty optimistic for your boys. I mean, you've made a number of signings, probably one of the most out of all the teams. But, yeah, before we get into I suppose you guys' predictions, let's jump into Morty's. Because he isn't here, we've still got his predictions, so let's pop those up right now. Here's his ladder for the year. Obviously, Liverpool top spot. That's no surprise at all. City, Arsenal, Tottenham rounding out the top four. He's gone with United and Chelsea, West Ham. I mean, what do you guys make of this? He's got Everton to go down. Is that just a pure Merseyside rivalry, or, I mean, is that spot on? What do you think, Tony?
Oh, I think there's a few other things we have to look at with that ladder that looks a bit how you're going. Obviously, you've touched on the Everton being in that 17th position. I don't think that's too far out of the realms. I think there are worse teams around them, so they might just stay up. But, I mean, I'll let either you or Campo Viz. What's going on with that Southampton sitting at number 20? What is going on there?
To be fair, 20 is ridiculous. But I also don't think it's that far off because you saw how poor they were at the end of the season. If they continue that, they're going to be in trouble this year.
Yeah, no, I think I can agree with Campo there. Had the season have gone 5 games longer, they were in serious trouble. Probably even shorter than that. They were not looking good to end the season. I think what helped them was the fact that they started pretty decent, and then they kind of just fizzled out, unfortunately for their sake. But yeah, look, I mean, them going down would it be a shock? I don't think so. I mean, they've been in the Prem for a few seasons now, quite a number of seasons, but they haven't really been building too crazy. I mean, they've made a few decent signings, couple of keepers, Aribo, right wing, he looks quite good. But, I mean, Morty, I think it could be one of those ones that it wouldn't surprise you.
The one
I think it's a team. Sorry, Campo, just quickly. I think it's a teams around there. Like, obviously, we know how Southampton did struggle, but we also know how Fulham go when they come up into the Premier League. It's usually a yo-yo effect. We'll get into it. Bournemouth haven't really impressed me with who they've signed. Leeds have lost key players. So I think there's going to be a lot of teams down that side that are going to struggle. And I think James Ward-Prowse has enough to get him in the top half again for another year.
I think just keeping him is massive for them. I mean, it always feels like a signing, just kind of keeping your captain, the player that does carry you, I suppose, especially when he was rumoured to leave and, not sign that new contract. But before we get into anybody else's, obviously let's get into his Golden Boot, top assists, Golden Glove predictions. It's a Liverpool clean sweep according to him. I mean, it's not shocking. It can't be shocking because, I mean, that all happened last year, did it not? Actually, I think Salah got assists.
Salah got both. Salah got both tied.
Yeah, that's not shocking. Let's be real. I think that Salah's proven time and time again that he can be that man that's going to score goals. They did sign Darwin Núñez, but Tony, do you think Salah is still the number one man for Liverpool?
I think if anything, it takes a bit of pressure off Salah. He's still going to score goals. He's still going to be on penalties. The way Liverpool play, the way they're quick in the box, he's probably going to have 5 or 6 penalties in the season. So he's going to tap goals and he's going to get penalties. But I do think his goal contribution will turn more into assists rather than goals this season with Núñez probably scoring 15 plus.
15 plus. Campo, do you agree with his predictions? Obviously, we'll get into yours in a bit, but any of those that shock you?
Nah, he's Liverpool bias as I'm Spurs bias. It's all going to be Liverpool for that. The only thing I have a problem with him is that he has Bournemouth in 14th. That's just stupid.
Right. Well, I mean, these predictions are all new to me. I haven't seen any. I think, Tony, I mean, you've made the graphics, so you've seen them. But, I mean, Campo, I'm going to get into yours now. I haven't seen where you have every team. I can only assume, though, that you're going to have, Talk us through that one, Campo.
Well, I see it as City and Liverpool have made 2 key signings. they've both got Liverpool and City both have to learn to play with a big false nine up top now, the big striker. So if there's any chance that we can win the league this year, I'm hoping they start slow and we pounce on those errors and we just run away with it. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. You've got Leicester in ninth. I want to touch on them. You've got them having a decent season still. I mean, I don't know, Tony, about you, but I personally, I mean, we'll get into it, but I've got them finishing quite low. Do you think they're going to keep have a decent season, considering the fact that they're losing Kasper Schmeichel, they're going to lose Wesley Fofana by the looks of it?
I can't see them.
No. Go for it, Campo.
I can't see Leicester losing Tielemans, Maddison, and Fofana in the same window. That is just football suicide. I can't, without replacing them, I just can't see them getting rid of all three just a week before the season starts.
I see an Amazon special. I see from safety to champions to relegation. It's going to happen, boys. I'm not saying they're going to go down this year, but I think Leicester's on a downward spiral. And if Morty was on here, he'd be saying Rodgers is going to get sacked, and I wouldn't be too far off it this year. I think he will be one of those first managers to see the door this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's been saying it for a number of years now, probably ever since we started the pod, really. But yeah, I actually do agree. I think this is the year that Rodgers is gone from the Leicester hot seat. I think he's been treading on thin ice for a little while now. I don't think he's been great for them recently. I mean, I think last season was average. Did well in Europe. I think that's what kind of spurred them on. But yeah, could be a tough season for Leicester. Talk us through your relegation, though, Campo.
Well, I think I had Bournemouth last. They haven't made many signings to the Prem. It just looks like it's going to be another yo-yo for them. I've gone Fulham basically just because the same thing, yo-yo. I don't think Pereira can do it all on himself. And then 18th, did I? I can't forget. Forget who I went.
I'll pull them back up for you, mate. You've got Bournemouth, Brentford.
I went Brentford second last. With losing Ericsson, I think they're going to struggle. I think second-year syndrome without Ericsson, I just think that they're going down this year. Yeah,
I mean, I don't want to give it away, but I do agree to some respect. All right, let's get into your personal accolades. It's a Spurs Duo, and the Golden Glove goes to Alisson. I mean, talk us through it. Son is the obvious choice after last season.
I think we're seeing the best duo to ever play the Premier League together. I think they'll continue assisting and scoring goals for each other. And then Liverpool's defense is always rock solid. Virgil in front of that midfield, behind that midfield, just incredible. I can't see them conceding many goals this year.
You think Harry Kane's happy playing the assist master again, or does he want to get back amongst the goals?
I think he'll be up there. I think it won't be as many as Son because he just draws so many defenders in and he puts those balls over the top for Son. I think he's happy as long as the team's winning.
Tony, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, man, I think Kane, this is his season to really show that he's not in that Son shadow. I know a lot of last year was how many goals Son scored. I think the roles are going to reverse a little bit. You'll see Son give a lot more assists and Kane will put more away this year.
And Alisson, Tony, thoughts on Campo and Morty agreeing?
It's always going to be one of those two keepers at this stage. Obviously, City have a rock solid defense. Liverpool have a rock solid defense. You throw Chelsea in the mix just because of how good the keeper is, but I think it's a brave man to go away from those two keepers, so it's going to be one of those two.
I mean, they both finished on 20 last season. What do you think the winning keeper gets this season? Do you think it's less or more than that? Because 20 is pretty decent out of, 38 games?
I'm going to say, I reckon I'm going to go between that 16 to 18 range. I think it's going to be a little bit less. Obviously, we saw the Community Shield. Both teams did show, I guess you could say, some decent attack, but they also showed vulnerabilities at the back. So I think there'll be a couple goals that they will ship in games where they kept clean sheets last year.
Campo, what do you think Alisson keeps this year if he is to get top off of that?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's not going to be the same. I think there's a lot more teams that have a lot more better attackers in their squads this year. I think 17 will be enough to win Golden Glove.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into my predictions. Campo, they're quite similar in some respects to yours, but also not. I've not gone for Spurs to finish first. I've gone for them to actually miss out on European football. I've got Arsenal just to pip you guys. And I kind of made this one before actually looking at Arsenal's squad depth. I've seen their starting 11 quite decent. Squad depth, not so great. So do I regret that decision? Maybe a little bit, but they're staying there for now. Tony, I've gone with United to finish also in 6th in Europa League spots. I think tough season for you guys incoming. But yeah, City taking top spot, Liverpool, Chelsea, the way it finished last year. And then you can see Leicester in 14th. That's the one there. I think they're on that decline. I've got Nottingham Forest to avoid relegation. I think we all do at this point.
What's with 10th? What's with Leeds in 10th?
What about them?
They've lost Phillips. They've lost their Rafinha. They've lost their 2 best players.
Mate, give Jesse Marsh a full season with his American boys and he might work some magic. You never know. But I've gone with the same relegation review in the same order. Fulham, I think they are a bit of a yo-yo club. They go back down. Brentford, second season syndrome, just like Sheffield United a few years ago. And Bournemouth, yeah, Tony, you said it earlier, haven't seen enough from them to really warrant anything to stay in the Premier League. They don't have a 20-goal season striker or even a 15-goal season striker. I think Solanke, he did it in Championship, but we've seen him in the Prem before, just like Mitrovic. So, yeah, unfortunately, 2 of those teams that just got promoted will go straight back down. But Nottingham Forest, if they can avoid relegation, that's the big one for me. That'd be impressive. So, any thoughts there, Tony, on United sitting in 6th spot on my ladder?
Oh, I mean, I'll give one away from my predictions. I actually have them in the exact same position. I think we have lost, obviously, to Pogba, the Lingards, Mata retiring, Ronaldo's still on the road. Oh, not retiring from United, you know what I mean, leaving United. But Ronaldo, we still don't know exactly what's going to happen then. And we'll get into it when I give my predictions, but I'm not too worried about if Ronaldo leaves. It's the board and the Glazers replacing him if he does obviously leave before the end of this transfer window.
So do you think he leaves? Do you think he stays? What's your take there?
I don't think anyone wants him. It's a big wage to pay for a 37, going on 38-year-old striker. I guess he showed his vulnerabilities last year when he did play in that United front line. Yes, he scored goals. Yes, he carried us in a lot of games, but the style of play before he got there, and I'll bring him up even though he's in a bit of trouble at the moment, Greenwood. Like, you look at Greenwood for those few games before Ronaldo got there, and then when Ronaldo started playing, it just all went downhill and the whole style of play of United just crumbled.
Campo, does Ronaldo stay at United?
Oh, I just read, just saw something from Fabrizio. He just posted that he left United's game early against where they drew 1-1, and apparently Ten Hag was furious about that.
Apparently, a lot of players were given permission to leave before the game, so I don't think it was just him.
Well, apparently, said that's not what the team's about.
I'll jump in there. What Campo's referring to, the exact quote was, Ten Hag said, "I don't certainly accept this. I think this is unacceptable for everyone. We're a team, and you have to stay until the end." So that's what Fabrizio is reporting. So again, it wasn't just Ronaldo, but if I say, for example, Tellers left the game early, you're not going to get clickbait. If I say Ronaldo, everyone's going to jump on it. So
yeah, I mean, to me, that's quite mind blowing, really, that players would be leaving before the game's over. I mean, I know it's a friendly, but how are you getting out of there before the end of the game? It's kind of, I don't know.
I want to know, okay, players are leaving early. That's terrible. That's shit. What are the fans doing outside? What, did they leave early because they knew Ronaldo? Like, what's going on there? The fans that saw him, like, surely he's in a car, he's out of there. So what are the fans doing outside the stadium?
Yeah, if you're leaving the game early as a player, I think you need to be doing it in a non-public way because it's a bad look on Ronaldo's behalf, on United's behalf, and yeah, all over. I think it just doesn't bode well.
I think Ronaldo stays because I can't see anyone paying out a fee plus his wage, because United aren't going to want to sell him for nothing. They're going to want some kind of money. So I think he stays.
There was just talks, Campo, that we'd potentially say we'll loan him out for the year, and then if we make Champions League, we want another year with him on a contract. So I think United's doing everything to help him get out this year and hopefully get him back if we somehow pull off that miracle and get Champions League football.
But do you want him at that point, though? Because he kind of just gave up on the club, didn't he?
Oh, I mean, look at the number one target that we're going for. We're going for Frankie de Jong. Like we're not really in a position to say yes or no to which players we want if we can't pull superstars across to replace them.
Well, it looks like that de Jong is not going to be coming to you guys. I mean, he's been very persistent. But apparently, according to Fab and a lot of people, he wants either Barca or to just stay at Barca or Chelsea. I don't know. Apparently, we're looking at him. I don't know. I don't know if we need him, but he's a fantastic player, so I'm not going to say no to it. But let's move into my personal accolades. Got Harry Kane in the Golden Boot. So yes, Campo, I do have them finishing fifth, sorry. But Harry Kane, I think, wants that Golden Boot again. He's chasing Alan Shearer's record. In my opinion, he just wants he'll want to get back amongst the goals. 17 for him last season isn't quite enough. I think he's that fantastic striker, especially with England, obviously the World Cup coming up. He'll want to start strong and kind of carry that form. And yeah, Tony, I made your life difficult making 2 top assists there. I think De Bruyne and Mount, end up equally. Mount was only 3 behind Salah last season. And KDB, well, he missed a fair few games. And I wouldn't say it was his best season, but we know what he can do. And then I've agreed with Campo and Morty, with Alisson. I think that Liverpool's defence has showed to be slightly better than City's. And that would get Alisson.
Who's Mount going to assist because you have no striker?
Oh, mate. Anybody and everybody.
He's going to assist Lukaku. He's assisting Lukaku, Campo.
Whoever wants a goal, mate, can have one from Mason Mount. A fantastic delivery. Maybe Koulibaly, mate, from the corners, because he's a weapon. So who knows? Tony, before we can get into your predictions, I just want to obviously touch on Koulibaly there. What's your opinions on that transfer, guys? I mean, he's a bit older, but for 40 million, is it not a bargain? Is it, Campo, what do you think? Because I don't think you were too happy about it. You didn't say it was a great transfer.
He's a great player, but again, he's 31 years old, going on 32. He's finally changing leagues to the hardest league in the Prem. I think he gets found out.
Found out. Tony, what do you think? Thiago Silva.
I think it's gonna. Yeah, I think it's going to take him a few games to figure it out. It's going to be the players that you do put around him. I think the biggest thing, obviously, from a Chelsea perspective, and obviously the rest of the league, especially Campo down there, already judging him, is you can't make judgment on that first game. You're going to have to give him a good 5-6 games to get into the rhythm, see what the league's like. Now, he's physical. He might not be 100% the quickest, but I think his physical side gets him through, and you put the right players around him on his left and right backs, you'll be fine.
I want to compare him to, say, a Varane, because we know Varane didn't have the best season, a little bit injured here and there. Does he come good, Tony, this season, or is he on the way? Like, he's not on the way out, but who are United going to start at the back? They obviously signed Sandro Martinez.
Honestly, it's a bit of a joke that we have going, obviously, with the United boys, and everyone said that we were signing Champions League Varane, but we signed Conference League Varane. He's obviously struggled, his injury. Madrid let him go, and Madrid don't let players go if they're not going to continue to play at that level. So obviously they've let him go. I think he plays better because he can't play much worse than what we did have last year. But if it's for me, Maguire's outshined him the whole preseason. So I'm starting with Maguire at fullback.
Campo, Maguire, good seasoning coming, or is he a finished player?
He's just shit.
Well, I mean, we all have a draft going, a draft fantasy going, and we won't speak about Morty because he absolutely hates the bloke apparently, but he picked him in his draft team. He had all the options.
He's a fraud.
Picked him, so hopefully one day we'll get Morty's opinion on.
That's all right, because just behind me I've got the signed armband by Harry Maguire, so I've got to give him some props because I've got the armband sitting in the cabinet over there.
Oh god! All right, Tony, we're going to get into your predictions now to round us off. I mean, talk us through them. You got Liverpool top.
Obviously for those listening on SoundCloud or Spotify and all that, I've got Liverpool winning the league. It makes me quite sick to put them there, but Manchester City second, Tottenham third, Arsenal fourth. That's rounding out the top 4. Chelsea in 5th, United in 6th, Newcastle in 7th, West Ham 8th, Aston Villa 9th, and Wolves 10th. I've gone quite similar with 11th with you, obviously, Aaron. I've got Leicester sitting a bit lower on the table, but then obviously for my relegations, I've got Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, and Leeds all going back down.
So Leeds have outstayed their welcome, have they, according to you?
Like Campo said before, obviously he questioned why you had him in 10th. They've lost two massive players. Yes, Marsh is a great coach. He's going to get the group together, but I just don't think they have the firepower to stay up.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, maybe 10th, a little high, but you've seen teams lose players before, and I mean, it kind of kickstarts them. It might help them along. It kind of shows that they are more of a team and not relying on that one player. Bournemouth, we've all got them going down. I believe Morty had them going down as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
he had him 14th. He had him 14th.
Okay, well, he's a bit delusional. But yeah, is it just too tough of an ask for them, is it, Tony?
They haven't done enough. Like we said, they haven't done enough for me in the transfer market. And I compare them to a team like Nottingham Forest. And if I had to say, do they have a chance of staying up between those two teams, it's going to be Forest. Obviously, they've at least signed players. Bournemouth have signed a few players, but not enough to impress me just this early.
But you have Forest going down as well?
Yeah, Garner. He was the heart of their midfield. Obviously, I've spoken to a few Nottingham Forest fans, and they're all talking about, oh, come on, United, loan us back Garner. They've then gone and signed a ridiculous amount of players, and like we've seen in the Premier League, like we've seen in every league, you can sign 500 players, but if they don't gel or they're not used to each other, it's going to look shit when it gets onto the field. Yes, Campo. I know Jesse Lingard's there. I know he's there. And I think he's going to be the heart of that team, and that's what worries me. If he doesn't perform, which we've seen how he can go off, they're going to crumble. So Nottingham straight back down. Leeds, you can piss off too. And Bournemouth, well, we might see you in a few more years.
What worries me is the fact that Lingard's on 200K a week, I think, which is more than double any other player. I think he might be on the same amount as their whole squad together or something like that. Like, how do they think that's, I suppose, from a financial aspect? Is he good enough to warrant 200K? Because I suppose for them, he's the man that's supposed to keep him up this year. And if he goes and has a stinker, like, that's just a huge waste of money.
For a financial side,
For
a financial side, it makes sense because they got him on a free. So all that wage is it's adding up just, I think it's 8 mil. So for 8 mil for Lingard, you could take that any day of the week.
Yeah, I guess when you put it like that, it makes Haaland seem cheap as well, doesn't it? Because he only costs 50, but actually he probably ended up costing, whatever he's on, 400K a week, probably ended up costing the opposite. So, yeah, actually makes him seem more expensive. Sorry. Tony, we'll get into your personal here. You got Salah, Golden Boot. Bruno with a big season, top assist, and the Golden Glove. You've got Edison. You've gone against us 3 there. Talk us through it.
Oh, listen, I'll start with the Golden Boot. It's Mo Salah. Like I said, he's going to have the penalties. Liverpool's front line looks scary, and I just think he's going to score goals. We know what he's like in the Premier League. He's absolute home at the moment. As they call it, he's the Egyptian king, and I just see him continuing on with that. Obviously, with Bruno as top assister, I'm kind of basing that on Ronaldo maybe playing 1 or 2 games, skipping games, missing games. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. So that's kind of based off the notion that he does leave, because we saw what Bruno did when he was the only one there. He came in, he hit the ground running, and obviously Edison was a bit of a I didn't want to put Alisson's face up there again, so I put Edison because I think it's going to be that close, but I think City pip him, but Liverpool score enough goals to win the league, like my prediction said.
So you think it's the opposite this year, and Liverpool score more than City but don't keep as many clean sheets, but it's enough for them?
Well, I think we've already seen in the preseason how much of a big loss, what's his name? Gabriel Jesus is. He's absolutely tearing it up for Arsenal. Haaland's going to come in. He's going to be a donkey for a few games. Hopefully he never finds his feet and he does a Lukaku when they loan him back out and get rid of him next year. But I can just see that taking a few weeks, and the way Liverpool score goals, they'll already be 5 or 10 goals clear by the time he starts hitting the ground running.
Yeah, you spoke about Gabriel Jesus. I mean, what a signing he's been for Arsenal. He's got 7 in 5 preseason games. I was actually thinking about putting him as Golden Boot, but I thought maybe a bit more of a dark horse. I don't know if he's quite got enough to score 20 plus. It'd have to be an outstanding season for him, and Arsenal would have to, I think, be not challenging for the title, but yeah, top 4. But yeah, Campo, Spurs fan, thoughts on that signing? It's looking good.
He is, but preseason's preseason. You can start as well as you want, but if you lose 2-0 in your first game, it unravels everything and pressure builds.
I mean, we know how Arsenal started last year, what they bottomed the table after 3 games. Tony, Gabriel Jesus, looking the goods.
I think it's an absolute cracking signing. I'm going to go as far as saying it's probably going to be the signing of the year, if I'm being completely honest. He didn't cost them too much. He's going to score goals. And if you look at that Arsenal side as a whole, I think that is the player, that is the striker that fits that system. So I think it's a happy day if you're an Arsenal fan.
Do you think City will live to regret it? Or, I mean, they've got Haaland now. They've got Julian Alvarez. Is it not a worry for them?
It's a bit of a worry. Obviously, players want to play football. They want to be that starting striker. So I think Jesus is good enough. He's better than most strikers that were at Arsenal last year. So great signing for them. For City, you've got the big striker. You've got Haaland. You've got the future lined up with, what was his name again? Sorry, Aaron?
Julian Alvarez.
With Alvarez, you've got the future lined up. So you're setting up for the future. You're not setting up for now. And Haaland, like I said, if he hits what he does in Germany, mate, City are laughing.
You spoke about Real Madrid not letting players go when they kind of know they're a finished product. City, is it the same with Raheem Sterling and Gabriel Jesus? Is Raheem Sterling still got a lot to offer, or? I think,
and Aaron, you might be able to correct me because usually you know these things. I think it was Mark Schwarzer that said that's going to be one of their biggest regrets. And I completely agree with him. Letting a Sterling who can score goals, he's still playing for England, he's still doing all right in the Premier League. I think that's one of the stupidest releases I've seen. But hey, he's got to fit into Chelsea's system before he does anything.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think he's a great fit for Chelsea. I mean, you can only go as far as, you know, what you've seen so far, but he looks so good. He's running at defenders. He's kind of that player we always need. And I mean, we don't have that big man up top kind of striker, like a bully ball. But I think, yeah, he's that kind of striker. He's that midfielder winger we needed. Campo, do you agree with that signing, or do you not think it's great business by Chelsea?
I think it's great business by Chelsea, but I think City are in a position where they don't really need Sterling. Jack Grealish is going into his second season now. He's the future. Alvarez the future. Haaland's the future. They've got all these young gun players that if they don't win the league next year, you got to think over the next 10 years when these players are hitting their primes, they're going to win a lot more than they lose.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned those new boys. So just to finish off, none of us had Erling Haaland or Darwin Núñez as our top goal scorer. Are they going to hit it, or are they going to miss it? Like, is it going to be a good season or a bad season for them? Tony, you can start.
I think Núñez has a good season. I know I said 15 plus before. I'd probably be more realistic saying 12 plus. I think he'll hit that 15, 20 goals in all competitions. So for the first year, and again, Núñez has this big reputation, but he hasn't played many first grade games. Like, he hasn't played 100 games somewhere else, 150 games. So I think a realistic expectation is 12 to 15 goals in the league. Haaland, I think he's an overpriced Lukaku, if I'm being honest. I might live to regret that. You can clip it. You can use it when he scores his first hat-trick against United when we play him in the derby. But, yeah, I think he's an overpriced player and he's going to struggle in the league playing against good defenders.
Campo?
I don't think Haaland's overpriced. He was 50 mil. Lukaku was overpriced at 100. I think Haaland will have a good season, and I think Núñez will have an average season. Salah just wants the ball too much.
I'll jump in there, Campo, just quickly. You said Lukaku was overpriced, right? I think any team besides Spurs, because they had Kane, would have taken that offer. But now we're looking at the season he had, and we're saying he was overpriced. If he scored 25 goals last year, we're sitting here going, what an absolute bargain. So if Haaland comes out and scores two... Yeah, but if Haaland comes out and scores 2 goals in the Premier League this year, are you still calling him underpriced? Are you still calling him a bargain?
Yeah, 100%.
50 million for 2 goals, you're calling him a bargain.
Oh, no, I thought you meant the first game. No.
If he scores 2 goals the whole year, hypothetically, he's not a bargain anymore. So I think we've got to see out the year first. Like, Lukaku, Aaron, sorry, that's the worst trend. That's worse than letting Pogba go on a free twice. That is terrible. Like,
yeah, that could arguably go as one of the worst transfers in Premier League history. There's no doubt about it.
I just don't see Haaland scoring 2 because I think I could score 10 in that City outfit with all those balls feeding into my feet. So we'll wait and see.
It's always going to be one of those ones where you just don't know. I think Haaland showed even in the game against Liverpool in the Community Shield where he did miss a few sitters. He gets in the positions. He's going to score plenty of tap-ins. I think in Europe he's going to carry them. Don't know if they're going to get that Champions League group, but he's going to carry them there because he knows how to play against European defenders. Prem, he might find a little bit tougher, but I still think he's that big body. He throws himself around. He'll be right. Darwin Núñez, he's a Gumby. The way he plays is so it's not pretty to watch, but I mean, he scored 4 in one game the other day, and they're all average goals, but they're goals. He scored against City. It was a nice little header. Like, he's going to score goals. But
can we talk about that goal? Did he win the Premier League or did he win the Community Shield? Like, what did he win celebrating? That's him. Well, that counts towards the league, doesn't it? That's his first yellow card for the 5 yellow cards now, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I think it counts as your first official FA goal. So then yellow cards, come into account. But Tony, you mentioned that he's not played 100 first team games, so that's probably why it's probably his first big trophy that he's won. Apart from I don't think he's won it at Benfica.
Let's get rid of that big trophy title. That's a Community Shield.
I mean big, that's for sure. It's a big shield, but it's not a big.
He bottled his biggest trophy, the Bangkok Trophy.
The Bangkok Cup, yes, the lads.
Big one, to be fair. That's a huge title. I mean, Ten Hag wasn't impressed winning, that's for sure, Tony. But Bruno looked okay.
Mate, Bruno was probably just happy to lift something. Hey, Ten Hag was probably like, Ronaldo said he wants trophies. Well, here's the Bangkok Cup. No one else has that at the moment.
All right, well, that's our predictions for the season. I mean, we're going to be bringing you weekly content, post-games, match week reviews. Hopefully, Morty's going to be here to get his outlook on all things Premier League. Lads, thanks for joining me. It's only, 3 days now till the Premier League kicks off. Arsenal versus Palace, first game. Will we see an Arsenal loss? It would be bloody hilarious to see it. Thanks for joining me, lads, and we'll see you again next week.
Cheers, mate.